Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome to the East West Show. Jack Chow, your lovely host on the GNE TV with EDI. We do pay lots of attention, as you know, around us to everything, every issue around us. And if you recall, for last year, I did at least 3 times Rotary shows. Rotary International is the only organization that has a history of more than 100 years old, and that has spread their help, their seeds, I call it seeds of love, almost everywhere in the world. And locally, we're talking about our district, where my friend Lou Arredondo is going to be the incoming governor of, that is 5300, has an even richer history for Rotary International. Today, in touching base with Rotary International, namely the 5300 district, I have the pleasure of Dr.Sjlvia Whittock visiting me. So, on behalf of my audiences and my crew, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
All right, good. I know Rotary is a very big name, and you are the past governor for the 5300 district. How do you feel about it?
How do I feel about being past governor?
And still getting involved, of course, right?
Being past governor is sort of a little break in the work that you do in Rotary, a little break from being right in the highway. Right? However, what being governor does is really prepare you for all the other things that there are in Rotary, all the things you didn't know existed.
All right, very good. With that as a start, though, of course, by the way, my audiences, I respect everybody who did their service, like what they do, like Dr. Whittock does, to the public service. The public word here stretches to almost internationally, word public. Yes, we would like always, sometime, to find stories or details about this person, to know more, so that we'll get into her mind why she's doing so, right? So in other words, that said, Dr. Whittock, I need some personal story, please. I'm not asking you about your saving account number. I know you have a lot.
Oh, geez. I was going to give you that.
Okay, very good. Okay, very good. So, any story except your saving account number, please.
Well, why don't I start at the beginning? I grew up this very simple childhood in Jamaica. In Kingston, Jamaica.
Oh, beautiful landscape. I know Jamaica.
See, the land of oceans, palm trees and bougainville. Okay, I grew up with my grandmother, who was really a service-oriented person. She did a lot of things for people, and while it wasn't lost in me, I didn't think that I would grow up to do so many of the things that I've seen her do. I'll tell you a little story, because it's really a good story. I was maybe about 8 or 9 years old, and there were some men working on the tram lines that ran by our house.
On the tram, the bus tram,
like
right?
the Charlie, like San
Francisco
like
Charlie bus, right?
And they were working out there, and one man came to the gate. He knocked at the gate, and he said, I have some food for my lunch. Can I borrow a fire? What he wanted to do was use a stove that we had. And she said, I'll fix it for you. And she took it and she opened it up and she said, oh, he needs some oil here and he needs some vegetables there. And she took it inside and fixed the whole thing and then took it back and served it to him on a plate. And I remember saying to her, why are you doing that? And she said, I do whatever I can for anybody because they may not do it for me, but one day they'll do it for you. I have never forgotten that story, because it was so typical of the kind of person she was and the kind of person I would like to see myself just approach. Yeah.
That said, I really like that. The story might be so little, such a little story, right?
Yep.
The significance, if you go profoundly to find the bottom line, you will see that as a early start of a childhood education. My
It
mom
was.
did the same thing.
Yeah.
Once there is somebody at the door asking for food, we have what they call mantou, which is the steamed bread thing. Mom says, "Can you wait for 5 minutes?" I was still wondering, why wait for my 5 minutes? Give him it. That's it. He needs it. Mom says, needs to be warmed up. It's cold out there, and the mantou is cold. You don't want a cold plus cold. And she heated up with the steam and warmed up for him. I remember that little detail forever.
Yeah, those little
There's
acts,
drilling
yeah,
here.
they're not lost on children. That's how children learn.
Very good,
Children learn
very
what
good,
they
very
see.
good, very good,
Yeah.
very good. I can see that you have a very healthy childhood.
I had a very healthy childhood.
You're
My
lucky.
grandmother.
You're lucky. You're lucky. I'm lucky. You're lucky, right? I know Rotary, if I recall right, was established in 1905. Was that it?
Yeah, way back then. Yes.
Yeah. 03 or 05. I'm not exactly sure, but over 100 years old
Over
already,
100,
right?
116,
So
yeah.
at that time, women, not only talking about Rotary, women was excluded, even excluded to the out of the whole society. The world had nothing to do with women. That is the
No,
time.
women were home taking care of the kids.
Yeah, all right, but for Rotary, well, it's just out of question. So they are not involved, one for sure. Since when, at what time, women get involved, please?
Okay, so I went to work in Duarte in the 1970s, late 1970s. I went to work in Duarte as a school principal. And as a school principal, you're interested in what's happening in your community, how you can meet the needs of your community, how you can serve, because until you meet their needs, you can't teach their kids. And so when I went to work as a principal, I remember asking another principal about this, how do you work in the community? And she said, don't worry, we're going to invite you to join Rotary because our superintendent is the president this year and he wants to get women in Rotary. And so at the time I didn't know what Rotary was. Rotary is the best kept secret in the world, by the way. Very few people know what Rotary is unless someone is inviting you. So
Sure.
she said, we're going to invite you, and the superintendent did invite me to join Rotary. But he did preface it by telling me that what he had done was a little out of the ordinary because Rotary International had no female members. In fact, their bylaws said...
That was even the late 70s of last
Yeah,
century?
it was 76.
76,
yeah.
when you were school principals.
Yeah.
Okay.
And their constitution at the time said that Rotarians shall be males of good, can be persons of good character. Eventually it was changed to males of good character. And so he wanted to invite some women because, as most service clubs experience, membership was a challenge. And so he thought, I have female principals, I have female psychologists, I have female executives. Why can't I invite them to join Rotary?
All right.
And so that's what he did. He invited 4 of us to join.
All right.
Rotary
You were the
Club.
one. You were the one first.
No, I was not the first one. I was the first president. I became the first president.
Yeah, that's
But
even
there were 4
even
of us.
bigger first.
But there were 4 of us.
Yeah. All
4
right.
of us, a journalist, a psychologist, and 2 principals who were invited to join the Rotary Club of Duarte. And, you know, and the district governor at that time, he was consulted, and he said to Dr. Key, we don't have women in Rotary, but, you know, I don't see why not. When you send their names in, just send in their initials. No first names. Nobody will know they're women.
That's a little trick, right?
Yeah, and we have something called the
We
forward
say
test.
Dr. Whitlock,
Yeah,
right? Without Sylvia.
right.
All right. Well, I like the
Dr.
word
S.
Sylvia.
Whitlock.
All right, good. I like that, yeah. And since then, you were, in 1976, you were the president or you were a member?
I was
and
a
then
member.
later
Later
became.
president. I became president the same year the Supreme Court was making their decision about
Okay,
it.
now, okay, you are mentioning, thank you very much, you are mentioning a very important point, which is the one I'm moving to. And what caused the Supreme Court to make that ruling? please?
Well, in 1976, the Rotary Club of Duarte was celebrating its anniversary, anniversary of its charter. And so international representatives were there. And the women were introduced. And they were astounded. We don't have women in Rotary, you know. And so they went back to Evanston and they told the powers that be that there were women in this Duarte Club. And Evanston immediately wrote to Duarte and said 3 things. Women are not allowed in Rotary. You need to ask the women to leave Rotary. If you don't, you need to stop calling yourself a Rotary Club.
Ah, that's strict.
Just like that. Just like that.
That was strict. And
so the Rotary Club, the Duarte Club talked about it and decided they wouldn't ask the women to leave, but they would try to appeal to the board of directors. And they were told the board of directors will not listen to you unless you're a Rotary Club. And if you have women, you're not a Rotary Club. And so they thought, okay, maybe we can appeal to the Council of Legislation. That's the lawmaking body of Rotary. And anyone can do that. And so they appealed to the Council of Legislation. They sent someone there, but the vote was not in our favor. They lost it, 1,060 to 34, something like that. And so they came out and they thought, now what do we do? And so one of our very creative members said, that's okay. We'll see what happens. So Rotary sent a representative to Duarte and said, your charter no longer exists. You need to give it to us because you can't be a Rotary Club with women. And they took the charter.
Officially?
They came to a meeting and took the charter of the club. And so Bill Brooks, who was a member at the time, said, that's okay. We're not Rotary. We just call ourselves ex-Rotary.
Way to do.
We became the ex-Rotary Club. We took the Rotary pin, put
Ex-Rotary,
an X
okay.
on it, and we became the ex-Rotary Club of Duarte for 11 years.
Wow, since then, since
From the time they took the
from
charter. 76
to
87. So a Rotarian in a neighboring club, you know, said, I think we can take this through the courts, you know, Samson Smith. I think we can take this to the courts. And so we gave notice to Rotary International that we were going to sue for the right to have women in Rotary. And Rotary International tried to have the case not heard in California. Because what it said was all members of the board of directors are not Californians.
I see.
But the reason they wanted that was that in federal court, they had had a case about associative rights members, you know, and it had gone the way they wanted. And so they wanted to have it heard in federal court, but the court ruled that it be heard in the Superior Court. So it went to the Superior Court.
That's a good pick.
It went to the
That's a very good pick.
Yeah.
Right?
It went to the Superior Court in Los Angeles, and we lost the first round. But the interesting thing about this is that when those women were invited, they were invited because the club was interested in gaining members. By the time it got to the courts, it became a civil rights issue.
All right.
Yeah, and that's where it hung. So we lost the first round, and then we sat up and we thought, okay, we're going to have to do some serious homework. The ACLU got on board, and we thought, okay, we'll appeal this decision to the appellate court.
So you were part of this great historical movement.
Yeah.
Big step.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a very big step. I give you big hands, both hands, and I believe my audience will do that. And of course, we're not saying Rotary is about the part of refusing women. We're talking about anything has its own process of growing. And you compare the Rotary back then to the Rotary International now, of course, if you talk to them, say, hey, are you taking women? They will laugh at you, say, why not, right? So even they will laugh at you. But history, I mean, it evolves itself, right? I like the part that Dr. Whittock made her move, her historical move. She was part of it, and congratulations on that. And still, that's a good landmark, right? So today with me, my dear friend, is my respected leader, a very highly respected leader, Dr. Whittock of Rotary International, the past president of Rotary District of 5300 from which I was 3 times. I have been 3 times awarded. How about that? Okay.
Are you a Rotarian?
I'm not officially a member, but I was awarded. Oh, once I was a governor's hero.
Okay.
Let's take a short moment out. I'm not talking about the government hero of me. I'm talking about, talking about Sylvia, and she is the one that I'm focusing on today. Let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, we'll continue finding more. So stay with us. Hello, dear friends, my dear fellow Americans. Welcome back to the discussion talking about America, talking about specifically of 5300 district of Rotary International, who I respect a lot. With me is my new friend, Dr.Sjlvia Whittock, a former school principal of Duarte.
Yes.
Past governor. You guys use governor. Past governor of 5300 district of Rotary International. I see her, in my eye, a fighter, right? Because she was involved in the action of going to court to overturn history, which they did. Okay, now, with the court decision, what came along?
Well, the appellate court decision reversed the Superior Court decision, and Rotary immediately said, no, we won't accept this. We'll appeal to the California Supreme Court. But the California Supreme Court would not hear the case. They said, we're satisfied with the appellate court decision, which was based on the Unruh Act, the California Act that banned discrimination and public accommodation.
I see.
And so the California Supreme Court turned it down. And so at that time, since this decision was incumbent on California, and I was an incoming president, I was invited to come to PETS, which was the President-elect Training Seminar. I was invited to go to PETS. I was reminded to take my coat and tie because they were taking pictures. Really?
Okay.
But I went to learn all I could learn to prepare me to be president of my club for a year. And one of the things I learned in the session on Rotary International was that Rotary International was going to appeal to the United States Supreme Court. I couldn't believe I was hearing them say the United States Supreme Court, because I thought, this is a case about women members in a service club. Why would the Supreme Court be interested in this? But see, I wasn't smart enough to realize that the Supreme Court would be interested because it was a civil rights issue. And so, I thought, this was not Roe versus Wade. However, the Supreme Court did take the case. And, I learned that, and that was the time our district governor said, we don't know why this little club is making this big deal over this. It's just the case of the mouse that roared. And so our banner became the Rotary Club of Duarte, the mouse that roared.
Good. Very good, yeah.
And of course it did go to the Supreme Court, and it only took the Supreme Court 4 months to render a decision.
All right.
And the decision said, women have to be admitted to service clubs. And not only was it incumbent on Rotary, but was incumbent on all the other service clubs around.
Obviously, you won this victory gloriously, a beautiful landmark, I would say. I put it that way. It's a milestone of human rights history. Back then, it might not be such a big deal, but if you put the same thing, same argument today, well, it takes about probably 4 hours to reach a decision and say, hey, no, right? So it took 4 months. It takes time. History takes time. I'm also interested, as a show host, I'm not only satisfied with the story. I want to go a little bit deeper. Why would they reject women as their early days, even their constitution, their foundation? Why? What reason, whatever, made them to reject women?
There were a lot of personal reasons. You hear them even today. I was in Calgary once on a train going to the convention and met a man who had been at the Council of Legislation in Tokyo when the issue was voted down. And he said, you know, I voted for women in Rotary because I always thought they should be there. And his wife, sitting right next to him, said, right across from me, said, I didn't think so then, and I don't think so now. A lot of the women objected to it because the issue was their men were going to meetings at night, and there were women, and they didn't want that. A lot of men, just a couple of days ago, a man said, you know, one of the issues that we talked about was this was an old boys club, and we didn't want to change it and bring women in. We were satisfied with just the boys in this club. If you stop and think about it, this is an organization devoted to doing good throughout the world, raising membership. And if you want to increase membership, you don't exclude one whole
You're right. Yeah.
part
Unless you are really forming a boys' club.
I know, and that's not, Rotary is not a boys' club. A humanitarian organization is not a boys' club.
Right, okay.
You know, and so why should that be? But there were a lot of other organizations like Rotary, like Kiwanis and Lions and so on.
So in other words, deep in the sand, you're talking about the discrimination or discriminatory ideas towards women, right? And I'm so glad that you were part of the movement that changed. Should it not change, though, we will not see the development, the image of the Rotary today. Given an example, my friend Luann Arredondo, she's been traveling for half a year already. And she's traveling all the more than 100 sub-clubs of 5,300 districts. I witnessed myself how tediously, how unrelentingly she works. So she is a woman, obviously. Why disregard them?
Exactly.
Yeah, why? Why disregard
Exactly.
them? All right. I give you another example. I know a fine art artist. In my house, I have a collection of her work, which is the woman type of a Prometheus who stole the fire from heaven for mankind, right? So instead of Prometheus, she did a woman there. And why did she give me that kind of expensive piece? Because I understood her.
Right.
I stood in front of that picture for a long time. She said, "Why? Let's get some tea." I said, well, hold on. I was thinking, right? And then I told her the way I understood, because to you believe that the world needs women. Women is one to balance the world.
Exactly.
Right? Oh, she said, yeah, you understood me. And she says to her husband, yeah, I got one. All right, anyway. So that's a part of women participation in a big moment of the Rotary history. In day-to-day life, though, you are still talking about, well, women-man balance. You just said, you know, yin-yang, right? It's a yin-yang balance, right? Yeah. Yin-yang balance, very, very good. So after that, you, when you finish your governorship, what did you do?
You know, I am involved in a school in India. You talked about the balance. Nicholas Kristof wrote a book called Half the Sky.
Half the sky.
And it's from the Chinese proverb that says, women hold up half the sky. When, you know, in a lot of places in the world, women are still victimized. And that is in addition to the places where women are not allowed equity and employment and so on and so forth. So I got involved in a school in India that was started by an Indian woman in Rotary, a woman who lives in Santa Barbara.
The country India.
Yeah, the country India. So I spent a lot of time doing that. But I do the things that our Rotary Club does. You know, the things that we do in our communities to help kids in school, to help women who have problems with their families, to help women, people who are ill, and to help just whatever those community needs are. And that's what I do as a Rotarian. That's what I wanted to do when I joined Rotary. was to find a vehicle through which I could serve the
Exactly.
people with whom I was working.
Exactly. And in our everyday practice of life, do you think or do you believe, what are you a doctor of?
Philosophy.
Philosophy. Okay, good.
I'm a
That's
psychologist.
exactly the land I land myself upon. All right. So, by philosophy, what do you think about the men thinking and the women thinking? They think differently, are they, or aren't they?
Well, they do think differently. They do think differently. I think men think mostly with their heads and women with their hearts. People would have you believe. However, women's hearts are directly connected also to their heads, and so they can do the same things that men can do by virtue of their strength and girth and muscle. A woman can do the same things using their brains to manipulate
All right,
all
that's
of
well
that.
said, well said. Once again, you're talking about, as a philosopher, you're talking about balance.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Right.
Do you see this world balanced enough? Or in other words, is this still a boys' club?
It still is. It still
Huh?
is. It still is. We're
still-
working towards
still?
balance,
Why?
but it's not
Why
balanced
still
yet.
is?
It's not balanced yet. Women are still not being paid the same thing men are being paid for the same job. Women are still considered inferior candidates for some positions, although they do everything. They're women engineers, they're women doctors, they're women teachers, they're women
Yeah, of
construction
course, right.
workers.
We almost had a women
But-
president. Almost. We were
Almost.
there. We were this much,
almost,
right? We were
Almost.
this much, yeah.
We've almost had a woman president of Rotary International, we hope. Or at least we've come that
So
close.
nowadays, you still see the necessity of moving on with where you started.
Yeah, towards equity for
Am
women.
I right?
Yes.
Well,
towards
I'll
equity
probably
for women.
later on check with my friend Lou and Arnaldo, the next incoming governor for the district, if she feels the same way, because I know I do. Of course, by physics, by physical appearance
Yes.
or strength
Girth,
or muscles or whatsoever, you're talking about heaven
a
and
little
earth.
difference. Right.
Yeah. In concept, they are human beings exactly as you are. Right. You mentioned in China, they say the women holds up half the sky.
Half the sky.
That was exaggerated too much to a point that lots of women forget they are women. That's the problematic side, right?
Well, there's an emotional side and there's a physical side.
Yeah, they're too much
Yes.
emotional,
Yeah.
and then they made women do the labor, the hard job, the hard physical labor, like men did. They say, "Oh yeah, you said it, and the man and woman equal. Okay, do it. Here's 200 pounds, carry it," like that kind of thing. That goes to the extreme. All right, my friend. With my new friend, Dr.Sjlvia Whittock, I am touching base some important issue. This world, so far, is confirmed, at least by her, still a boy club, right? A boy club. And we need some change, right? Today, we're talking about Rotary International, and let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, we'll get a new guest sitting next to her. Together, we will continue digging into this whole subject. Please stay with us. Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow on the East West with Jinyi TV. Today, our subject is the women part in Rotary International, in Rotary, women in Rotary. We believe that we have done a great job, the previous two segments, with my friend, Dr. Sjlvia Whittock, in digging out into history for her part of turning around to get women involved, which is so important to everybody, even now today. Sitting right side to her is another friend of mine. Her name is Regatta Corey, and she is the current governor for the 5300 district. So we have two women governors for 53 district already. right? And Luann Arredondo is a woman, and she's the next one. So anyway, so welcome to the show, Governor.
Thank you.
Very good. Once again, without telling me your saving account, tell me anything about yourself, please.
Okay, well, I was raised in the Big Apple,
Oh, the Big Apple.
New York, and now I live in Apple Valley where there are no apples. But I am one
I
of
call New York the Big Steak.
I am one of six, originally from Jordan, born in Jordan, raised in Yonkers, New York. And I'm second in line to the oldest, and have resided in California since 1977. A little bit about my history with Rotary is actually my initial introduction to Rotary, which I didn't realize for many years later, was the fact that I was on the receiving end of Rotary. I recall receiving my first book that I owned and was able to call my own, that was distributed by the Rotary Club that was in the area at the time. And I didn't really think much of it until years later when I was asked to attend a Rotary luncheon meeting. It took a while for it to dawn on me, but then I realized that I'm an avid reader because of the opportunity that Rotary was providing or had provided to me at the time. But it's unfortunate that it took many, many years for that wheel to resonate, that Rotary wheel, for it to make sense to me as to what Rotary really was.
Okay, very good. And?
Then I, after being in Rotary for about a year, I still didn't really quite understand until I was able to get involved, whether it was in barbecuing at the homeless shelter or taking kids Christmas shopping. It dawned on me when I started to read to the kindergartners and hand them their book, is when I recall receiving my first book. It began to make a little bit more sense. I began to get a little more comfortable with what Rotary was really all about, and being able, afforded the opportunity to be able to serve those in need, to be able to work with people, to be able to work for people.
All right.
Just opened up many, many opportunities, and definitely opened up my eyes.
All right, all right. So there's a long way to go.
Absolutely.
You did a long way, and yet once your eyes were open and you went all speed, right?
Yes.
Now, in front of me, I have the past, the present. I have the past governor and the present governor, the current. How many in between? In between you two?
3.
Well, you were
I was
governor
12, 13.
12, 13, and so my year is 17, 18, so 5 years in
There are 2
between.
more. There are 3 more, right?
Yes.
A year,
okay.
one each year.
Yes, there's
There are
one
3
each
more,
year.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Are they men and women?
Men.
I think in between there were men.
They were, the 3 were
Yeah,
men?
were men. yeah.
Okay, very good. I'm trying to drag it
And we have one man
for the
after
balance,
her.
right?
I
And
am
we have
the-
one man after her, and
Yeah.
then there's a woman.
In the 98 years of history of our district, I am the 5th female governor.
I see, I see.
And Luann
5 out of 98.
Arredondo will be the 6th female
Yeah.
governor.
Nearly less than 5%. Right? Less than 5%.
Right.
Well, you know, only 33%, roughly, 33% of the Rotarians are women.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about lieutenant members,
Yeah.
right? I'm talking about the governors.
Well, first you have to be a member
Right.
before you can
Very-
get up
very
to
good.
being a governor.
So you both have you both are Rotarians. You both are high-positioned Rotarians. As the governor, though, let me ask you from a normal mind. All right. So, is there any benefit of being a governor or what?
Absolutely.
All right. What is the benefit?
I think it's taking service to a new level. It's being able to share ideas and implement new ways of service, being able to show the world that women have come a long way and that we are perfectly capable of serving as all the men have. Opening up many doors to other women, as well as opening up new ideas, new opportunities of service.
All right. To you, ma'am, is there any benefit of being a governor, please?
One of the benefits of being governor is the acceptance of responsibility for seeing this organization, this humanitarian organization, run efficiently and effectively, and you get to do that. You get to do that by visiting all the Rotary clubs that there are in the district and seeing how people perform service and replicating or duplicating what is being done.
Okay. Have you noticed that when I ask a word the benefit, I might mean something else?
Not quite sure, maybe what we take away. But one of the other benefits of being governor is that you get to meet governors from around the world in Rotary.
All right, okay, all right, okay.
That's a big
So,
thing.
all right, okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being governors. Thank you for being a human being that have almost a childhood mind. I'm asking about money. Any benefit?
Money?
Yeah, money. Money.
Money for us?
Yeah,
No.
for being a governor, say no.
No, you were not paid to be governors.
No.
We're not paid to
Money
be
out
governors.
of pocket?
The only money benefit that you could maybe look at is that we're in a position where we can solicit money for the foundation that does the work of Rotary. You're in that peculiar position as a governor to be able to have access to people and places where you can raise money for
Do you know
Rotary.
why I'm asking that stupid question? Sounds stupid.
No questions are
That's not a stupid question.
In
No questions
comparison,
are
the
stupid.
question is stupid because it is a stupid world. Most people, the majority of people think my way. Like,
Of money.
yeah, you guys get paid doing what you do. Right? I ask you for the purpose of clarification. I want to make a point. The point being that those are the people, are the human beings who are putting everything together of their words to serve and for free. Right? And the last time I was with my friend Dr. Smith talking about his trip to India.
Tomorrow,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. And well, so it's out of pocket money for air flight, for not only airfare, but the hotel expenses, accommodation, everything. Right? So it sounds a little bit, okay, to this world, I call upon my people, my audiences, to follow because they are the good examples, right? So you think that I'm probably far away from the subject?
No, not at
No,
all.
right?
No, not at all. Because
Oh, I'm going to India in a couple of weeks, and it probably will cost me $3,000 out of my pocket for that.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
going to India, and why don't I just put that $3,000 in Rotary? Because what I'm going to do in India, I can't buy for $3,000. Because I'm going to work with teachers at a school to help those kids in this school, and that's important.
All right, okay. All right, good. My lovely audiences, I'm getting a little excited about these two women in front of me. I know every single one of Rotarians, they are doing the same thing, but in talking to them about looking at their eyes, the naive eyes say, why money? Huh? Money? Are you mentioning money like that? Well, I get myself kind of like brainwashed, call it quote unquote, only in a positive way. All right. So, my dear audience, let's take a very short moment now. Once we come back, we will check with the current governor of the 5300 district and the ex-governor, the former governor, the past governor. How you refer? You refer
Past district
past,
governor.
right? Past governor of the 5300 district about the coming year, the year of a dog. So in the lunar term, what you want to do with your district.
Can we take time to wish Happy New Year to all the people
Of course, we'll do that at the very end.
Yeah.
We'll do that. All right,
Okay.
good. So stay with us. We'll be right back, please. Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences, ladies and gentlemen, my dear fellow Americans. Welcome back to the discussion about women in Rotary International. Rotary International is a big name been so sounding for 115 something or 40 years already. That they are known for a group of people who voluntarily serve people all over the world. Right? They have, I believe, last check, 1.5 million members. They're the biggest. With me today are two wonderful individuals that I was so surprised about their stories. And I have on my right-hand side Dr. Whittock. And she used to be a school principal, elementary school principal, and she was the past governor for 5300 district, and yet she was part of the movement that started to turn history around. Since then, since that victory, a Rotary from a boys club turned into a human club, right? Good. To her right side, another friend, new friend of mine, and she is Regatta Corey. She is the current governor of the 5300 district. Oh, by the way, what do you do for a living?
I am in commercial property investment and as well as licensed by the state of California to sell life insurance, but instead of life insurance, I contract with funeral homes selling funeral insurance.
Still service.
Still service.
All kind of service.
Still
right?
service.
Only different,
That's
different
correct.
ways. All right, good. And the thing they have in common, though, they have worked so much, way so much, to get to where they are, where they were, and they are still pushing that way, right? And I know my dear friend Luann Arredondo is pushing that way. She will be the one after you or after the you after you?
There is one after me. Governor-elect John Chase will serve in the years 2018 to 19. Then Governor nominee Luann Arredondo, who will be governor in 2019-20.
She will be the one after you.
Yes.
Right.
All right, very good.
Yes.
That's a tongue
Got it.
twist, like a tongue twister.
Yes.
And I know, even though she is the one after you,
Yes.
she's been busy traveling for
Absolutely.
at least 6 months, because I haven't seen her for
Absolutely.
6 months. I call her and say, Lou, where are you? I'm on the road.
It's
Yeah,
technically
I
a
know.
5-year term.
5-year
You
term.
serve first as a district governor designate, then you move up to district governor nominee, then you become the district governor elect, then you serve a year as district governor, and then you're required to serve as the immediate past district governor.
I see.
So it's a 5-year term.
For the coming year, though, well, when I say coming year, I refer to the lunar term, right? For the International New Year, we're on the 20-something day already. So how do you plan or schedule your district? Because I know you're part of it. And how do you think about what you want to do this year?
Well, for the remaining part of the year, the final 6 months, there's quite a bit of planning that remains in place. Planning must be done cautiously and carefully and expediently, because time does fly a lot quicker than you'd want it to at times. But there's still planning for the district conference. We have what is coming up that's called the President's Advance, which is kind of a retreat for all of the club presidents. It's a recharge to keep them going for their final 6 months, encouraging them and motivating them. Then we also have, this year, we have our foundation gala that'll be coming up on February 24th, which is celebrating we will be planning for our biggest celebration at the end of the year for all of our accomplishments, which is what we refer to as the district conference.
Oh, very good, very good. So back to you, Doctor. Since she mentioned that it's also a celebration of the 30th anniversary of when you started with the movement, so what's your take on that, please?
The 30-year anniversary is really an interesting milestone, and we didn't think that we'd be observing 30 years. But then when I look at the reason for it is much what we spoke about before, that there are people coming into Rotary, or people who are not yet in Rotary, who didn't know that 30 years ago there was an issue with getting women to join service
Right.
clubs.
Yeah.
And so each time we point it out, we're reaching a few more people, and I get lots of letters from people who are saying, I'm so glad you did this. I get a lot of letters from people of color who said, I'm so glad to see there's a person of color in it. And there's so many things that we observe as we walk around and celebrate this 30th anniversary that makes it worth noting. So.
Do you think there's another layer of significance that lots of women take today what we enjoy granted, right? They take it for granted, say, hey, we deserve that, like that. And they are not able to realize, or they fail to realize, it costs lots of work to reach to get where you guys are now, right?
Yeah.
Do you think so? Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I think so. I think there are lots of people who don't know, who have no clue, who walk into jobs or positions or situations that other women fought many, many years to get.
Yeah,
even the
that's why I say they take it for
Rotary
granted.
issue
Yeah.
took 11 years to fight that through.
Exactly.
At any point, the club could have said, "Oh, we don't want to do this anymore," and we'd be back at square one. So I think people do take it for granted, but they take it for granted because they don't know. So I think there's a point at which you have to bring people up to date on how it was and how it is.
Sure. Okay, good. Well, what message? Yeah, go ahead.
Because even for me, it's really difficult to fathom that just in 1987, or just prior to 1987, that women were not permitted to join a service organization.
I know. Hard
so
to
it's
believe.
very, very difficult for people to grasp the definition of it, or the movement and what it took to get us to where we are today. Because like I said, even for me, you think back, 1987 was not that long ago. There should not have been any difficulties for women to join such an organization.
Exactly. To share with you and with my audience, the moment I got this outline and introduction paper from my friend Lou, I looked at it. I was like, are you right? Are you sure?
I know.
And I went online, even did a search, and found out that was true. Women was excluded.
I know, it's hard to believe.
Right.
So this significance is a message that we want to deliver to our women friends, that don't take everything for granted. Somebody before you who worked for it, and you got to continue working for more, for the future, right? For this year, and to my audiences, what message you want to deliver to them as your call, your encouragement, or whatever?
Well, I'll
start with the governor.
Okay, thank you. I would encourage many more women to get involved and to participate, but to also keep in the back of our minds that we were once excluded as women. We were once excluded from many organizations and many job opportunities. And we're not here to exclude men. We're not here to tip the scale. We are here for a balance. And I think it's important to keep in mind that it's the men that started this service organization, that provided the opportunities to serve. And now that women are involved, it's taking it to the next level. It's increasing our membership. It's increasing our ability to serve and nurture those in need in communities here at home and communities abroad.
Good message. And you, doctor, please?
As you're celebrating your New Year, or getting ready to celebrate your New Year, we wish you a Happy New Year, and we're so thankful to G&E for giving us the chance to talk about this. You know, I heard Maya Angelou say once that someone paid for you. When we look today at inclusion and exclusion, remember it's important to pay for someone else.
Yeah, Mike Angelo says somebody has paid for you.
Yeah.
It's a very, very famous quote, okay? Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we are very happy because we see something that we never thought possible before, because I never thought that was a period of time when Rotary rejected women participation, was a boys' club. Without criticism, we're talking about, so history evolved over time. Right? It takes an effort, it took efforts to reach where it is today, and it caused more efforts to go on, and that's the call. What do you, if my audience want to join the club, want to join the fund, how they want to contact you?
They can contact Rotary International. They can go online and look up Rotary International, but typically a Rotarian recommends someone else for membership. Like Luann recommends you for membership in a club, in a particular club. And the club tries to find out what kind of person you are and whether you would make a good Rotarian member, and it becomes a decision of the club whether you join.
All right.
Very, very easy.
In order for them to reach us, we are District 5300, so you can go to www.district5300.org and learn a little bit more about what we do here. But if you're not within our district, there are several districts, 539 districts worldwide that you could reach out to, and every district does have a website and is easy to contact these days.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the information. And to my audiences, we're a little over time, but we're very, very happy about it. With me today, we have Dr.Sjlvia Whittock, the past governor for 5300, and we have the current governor of the 5300. We have everybody important here talking about. So, thank you for watching, and to them, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.